we're talking about the black household, right? And the information circulating that majority of black households are single parent households. But then you brought up a great point saying divorce rate is so high in the white community, so they have a high rate of single parent households also. And I was saying that despite that though, the ability to earn, that's the problem between the white household and the black household.
Well, don't make it the ability to earn.
Access.
The opportunity to earn and access to earning. Because if it came to ability, we'd be ahead of the food chain.
Access to earning.
Right. An income
earning
that allows you to run a household, providing the food, clothing, shelter, safety, security that the household needs. That's where the black community is being hurt. And a big part of what's hurting the black community in that regards is the heavy immigrant population that's rolling into the country now, which is beyond any pale of immigration. No one let millions of people across their border every month. Nowhere in the world, ever in the history of the world. So what is that about? After the 60s, when they couldn't defeat us politically, we won the voting rights. We were voting. They can't say black people don't vote, because if we didn't vote, you wouldn't get Obama twice. If we didn't vote, you wouldn't have Biden in the office, all right? If we didn't vote, you wouldn't have had Clinton in the office twice. That's black votes that made all of that happen. So the myth of the black person not voting, even after getting the voting franchise, is just a myth. They may want us to vote a larger percentage to vote, but a larger percentage, how much of the Latino community vote? But you ever hear anybody says Latinos don't vote? How many of the Asian community vote? But do you ever hear anybody say Asians don't vote? How much of the German community don't vote? But you never hear nobody say the German community don't vote. Why is this constant attack on the black community? Because you want to commit crimes against them and have them responsible for the crimes you commit against them. And so after the 60s, when you couldn't defeat us with the vote, we defeated you. You couldn't defeat us with a lot of the legalisms that came into labor laws that said you had to give us employment. So the way you defeated us said, we're going to bring another employable population in the country that not going to ask for those labor laws to be enforced. And put your butt on the sideline, put you on the unemployment line. And then we're not going to give you unemployment. That's what happened in America, big time across America. It hit me one day, and I'm driving Highway 13, going to Virginia to see my kids. I had 3 of them in Hampton at the time. And Carol and I, and we just working class people who just got up first, both of us in our family, a first generation to go to college. But all of our children have at least a master's degree and some PhDs, and 2 are working on PhDs, because we understood what that meant. And we're not the only family that did that. From the Caribbean and the US, almost all of us in my generation were first generation going to college, and our kids went to college, right? You think the powers that be didn't see that and realize that one generation down the road, that's the ruling class. Now, how do we stop that upward growth? You got to cut off the ability to get the income to send a child to school, all right, so that they can go to college and so they can move to the next level and put their children in college. But one of the ways they did this was to flood the country with, mainly the brothers and sisters came from Central South America. We call everybody that speaks Spanish Latino, but the Spanish-speaking community is not homogenous. Those who are Puerto Ricans are not a part of that community that's coming out of Honduras and Nicaragua and those places. And all of these countries are countries that America controls economically, politically, and has overthrown every government down there. And almost every government except the one in, I think, Nicaragua, is under American control to this day. Much of South America is under American control. They couldn't get Venezuela, you know. They have, to some degree, this government in Brazil, even though with this new guy coming back in the government, he's still working as a part of that group that's controlling Haiti. You know, he still goes along with that program. So they've brought in an alternative. See, you got to go back to the Civil Rights Act of '65, all right, because it's dealing with a lot of the labor and employment issues in America for black people. It's removing all of the discrimination that's blocking us I'm getting work and getting jobs in the different institutions. And so they said, okay, we'll bring in a population that's not going to ask for union. They're not going to ask for insurance because they're in jeopardy. If they open their mouth, I take the green card away. If they open their mouth, I will deport them. And they're just poor people just like us who are trying to make a living to feed their family, clothe their family, and have a better life for their family. But they got something over their head they can't put over the head of the black American. But what they can do to you is make sure you're not in the marketplace, that the marketplace is still being filled with labor, but it won't be you.